My name is Andre. I've lived in New York for a little more than 30 years, and I suffer from depression. I was the youngest of 8 children. I had 5 older brothers. They were very athletic, and I remember one incident when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I walked into what was a newspaper sort of candy store that I went to just about every day. The owner, this woman, and I were just chatting. Somehow sports came up and she asked why I wasn't like my brothers. At one point she said, "You know, what's wrong with you?" It was a moment that, is seared in my memory. What's wrong with you? Because of course, all along, I'd been thinking, what's wrong with me? That I'm not like the other boys. It was a time when I began to withdraw, and rather than hang out with kids after school, I would just go home. Even though, withdrawing and feeling alone and being alone is a bad place to be, in a strange way, it's a safer place to be because the outside world is too scary. It is difficult for people to determine, are they feeling just sad, or is this what depression feels like? For me, it's this overall feeling that something's very wrong and it's lasting too long, and I'm behaving in a way that I don't understand. It's not being afraid to go out, it's about hiding within yourself.
When bad things happen in life, it certainly makes sense to have feelings of depression or sadness, and they can last for a while depending on the severity of whatever the triggering event is. But depression as the illness, I think 2 factors combine. Number one, those feelings tend to persist even over an extended period of time. And then the other factor is that there may not always be an obvious trigger.
I don't remember a specific event that propelled me to seek out a therapist. It was just time. I was stuck. I was so unhappy. I didn't know how to get out of it. I needed help. The diagnosis of depression from my first therapist, I think, was just based on the answers I was giving her, what I was telling her.
We do send people for certain basic blood tests to make sure there isn't a physical deficiency, because sometimes having certain deficiencies can contribute to a depression. But the bulk of the diagnosis is going to be made on what we call a clinical interview. So just sitting down with a doctor and going through a relatively standard set of questions.
She was asking me, of course, about my childhood and my background. I don't remember the specific questions, but it was about my outlook on life. Like, was the glass, half empty or half full? And the glass for me was, often half empty.
Early in my career, I was actually surprised at how many people are actually relieved to hear that the thing that they've been experiencing has a name and it's very well recognized. And I think the reason that that is such a positive thing is because if it's something that's recognized and known, it actually points to the fact that we know what to do about it.
After several visits, she said to me, "You are depressed." It was just hearing that word and identifying what my experience was that was a turning point. But it was only the beginning. I had a lot of work ahead of me.
If you catch depression early enough, you can certainly try to treat it with psychotherapy, although it has been shown that the combination of therapy and medications is the best, meaning it works the fastest and it's most likely to be effective. But for people who are absolutely set against the idea of medications, they certainly can try various kinds of psychotherapy to try to see if that can help their depression.
I think looking back, what was very good about what I did, even though I saw several therapists over many years, was in my own way, I was searching for the right therapist and the right treatment. I've been seeing Dr. Saraiya for probably 10 years. Have things gotten better for me emotionally? Absolutely. There's been such an improvement, but it's been over those 10 years. You cannot place a time limit on how long your therapy is going to take before you feel like you're fine, that life is better for you and you're going to move on.
People ask me, how will I know I'm feeling better? They will know. I'm not going to tell them that they're feeling better. They're going to tell me, yes, doctor, something is different. Thank goodness I'm better.
It would be great to say that I'm cured, that my depression is behind me. It's over. I have full control over my life now. Depression has a beginning and a middle, but doesn't have an end. Not for me. It is about staying ahead of it, managing it. It's important to really think about what makes you feel better. For me, therapy is the primary way I stay ahead of my depression.
The goal is not to be 100% happy 100% of the time, because not only is that unrealistic, I think it's not part of what it means to be human. I think that when bad things happen to us, it's natural for us to have negative emotions. So, my goal with my patients is not to turn them into, happy zombies, is that I want to treat their depression so that they're not feeling depressed, and to get them to a state where they can feel the full range of human emotions. So when they have bad things happen in their lives, they're gonna feel sad. When people treat them badly, they're gonna get angry, and that's okay.
Depression is never too far away. It comes back now and again, and there's always the fear that it'll dominate my life again. But with the help of Dr. Saraiya and continuing to see him, I'm a better manager of my depression and warding it off and trying to stay ahead of it. And I think I've been succeeding a lot in that way.